We're wondering here at Problem Solver Politics if Michael Bloomberg is actually running or if his candidacy is just a vanity project of some sort, because he has indeed announced that he's just skipping the New Hampshire primaries. And he's also announced he's skipping, I believe it was debates.
He's skipping Iowa.
Yeah, and he's skipping Iowa. He's basically skipping
the first part of the primary season.
Pretty much everything that matters and sets the tone for your
the first third of the primary, basically.
So, I mean, I don't really know what to think of this, other than, are you not serious about winning? Or is it just like, did you want to show off your grandkids? Like, what's going on here?
Well, I mean, I think the lead here on this week with a Politico article sums it up probably pretty well. The billionaire could spend tens of millions of dollars on his campaign without ever directly confronting his rivals on stage. Yes, he can, and he will. Michael Bloomberg also announced the largest and most ambitious ad buy, I believe, in the history of
politics.
Primary politics, at least. Maybe for general elections.
I meant to say primary.
But for a primary, I believe so in America, the largest, most ambitious. So yeah, it is weird. We'll go to this article a little bit, but Michael Bloomberg doesn't plan to collect donations for his presidential campaign. This means he won't appear in the next Democratic debate and risks missing the half dozen debates planned for next year. He's just going to skip debates in general because he's basically, though, and the reasoning behind it, but by the way, I kind of get in the DNC a little bit for this.
Okay.
I don't know. Why can't Michael Bloomberg say, I don't need to raise $100 million, I can just spend it? So people don't donate your money to me, donate to like causes and stuff. I don't know, maybe we could spin it. But like the DNC is basically saying you can't do that. You have to do what Tom Steyer did. You have to spend $50 million to raise $300,000. Otherwise, you can't be on the debate stage. Which is kind of weird to me, right? I'm not here defending billionaires.
Actually,
but what this comes down to is, remember, as a requirement to make it to debate, you have to have a certain amount of unique donors. If you accept no donations from anyone, individuals and corporations, you have no unique donors.
Interesting. Okay.
Again, I don't think Michael Bloomberg is making a stand for billionaires because again, this only affects people that can effectively.
But I never really thought about it that way. Is what if a guy said, "I'm so wealthy, why don't you guys all just donate your money to charity and I got this?" There is something interesting about that I would have to. I don't know exactly how I feel about that, so I'm not going to say yay or nay on air quite yet.
It's weird, right?
But it does almost seem like, well, that's reasonable. But if you self-fund, maybe you don't need donors. Now, even if I were self-funding, the reason why I would want donors is because I think donors is a good way of measuring success and figuring out demography and, understanding who your base is, what you're appealing to, what you're not appealing to, so on and so forth. So I think strategically it's a poor move not to accept donations, if not just for the intelligence information. But I don't know, if you're so wealthy you can self-fund, encouraging your base just to donate to charity. I don't see anything wrong with that. What's the DNC thinking? They're going to get something here. They're corrupt and they just want money.
Yeah, but it is really weird. I mean, this is an article actually from before he had really decided he was running for president. This is an article going back to November 8th. Titled from the Associated Press. So, again, pretty reliable. Bloomberg to pass on Iowa and New Hampshire to focus on Super Tuesday states. And it goes through and mentions here that Michael Bloomberg plans to skip early voting states like Iowa and New Hampshire if he launches a presidential bid and instead focuses efforts on the crush of states that vote in Super Tuesday and beyond. It's a strategy that acknowledges the limitations of entering the race at this late stage and the opportunities afforded by the billionaire's vast bid as the opportunity afforded by his past. That is 100% true. But
Super Tuesdays, how many states now? Like 17?
It's a lot. But listen to this. Bloomberg advisor Howard Wolfson says other candidates already have a big head start in the first 4 states to vote. Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina. And Bloomberg needs to be realistic about where he can make ground. If we run, we are confident we can win in states voting on Super Tuesday and beyond, where we will start on an even footing. Wolfson said nearly a quarter of primary delegates up for grabs in the March 3rd Super Tuesday contest. So, yes, there is a lot you could do, but it would be I would say this. If Michael Bloomberg and his advisors are right, it is an absolute indictment on the DNC's primary process. If somebody can literally skip basically the first half or third of it, right? The run up to, because think about it, how long have these other campaigns been spending money, pounding the pavement in the ground in Iowa? I would say Andrew Yang was at the 2008 Iowa County Fair.
Yeah, okay.
And then whatever the county fair is, and then for the Des Moines soapbox, and he came back for 2018 and 19. Like, he was there getting ready for the 2018 political season. Like, people start in Iowa, Carolina, or South Carolina, right? Nevada, early. Especially Iowa and New Hampshire. But what's funny is if Michael Bloomberg can just walk in, sweep Super Tuesday, and basically make all the states look like total chumps, what would that do for the whole process? You know what I mean? It'd be weird, wouldn't it? Imagine how dumb all these candidates would feel. It's like, wow, why didn't we just skip Iowa and New Hampshire? That meant nothing to us, I guess. Now, I don't believe that's going to be what happens. I don't think you can just win. Now, I'll admit what helps Michael Bloomberg in doing this is being a billionaire, and he's going to bankroll his own campaign. That helps him. But I don't know if you can never appear in a debate stage and not appear in any of the early states and necessarily win a primary. Now, like I said, if he does, total indictment in how everything's ran. It just shows that you could buy your way in. And not only buy your way in, it shows that the Democratic Party really was propping up these early states and they mean nothing anymore. Now, I don't think we're there, but it's just, what else would you draw from that?
Let me just give you an idea, Cody, of what Michael Bloomberg is biting off and is going to attempt to chew with this strategy. Now, I think she's right that it recognizes the limitations of somebody who's entering the race this late. Okay. But saying you're going to attack Super Tuesday and these 16, I was wrong, it wasn't 17, these 16 not mini nation states or states, because they're not even states. Some of these, I'll explain later, aren't individual states. But these 16 groups, we should say, is a big feat. Look, on Super Tuesday of this year, looks like it's going to be March 3rd. Alabama goes to vote with Arkansas, California, Colorado. Democrats abroad. Like, think of how many Democrats are just abroad, dude.
Not very many.
Oh, come on. Not very many.
That vote in America? Not very many.
Oh,
that vote in American primaries? Not very many.
Oh, dude, we're talking tons. Think of just how many are in the U.S. military and the State Department alone. Just think of that.
Okay, but
so it's suffice it to say it's a ton. More than Rhode Island. All right.
I would agree roughly the size of a small state.
Yeah, it's the size of a small state.
But like, who cares?
So you got Alabama, you got Alabama, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Democrats abroad, American Samoa, interesting, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, and then Puerto Rico the next week.
I mean, really, the big ones there are California, Massachusetts, Minnesota a little bit, right?
I mean,
Texas.
This is a tall glass to order. I mean, that is insane. How are you going to get to all the Democrats abroad? I can see how you market in Maine.
I think you are very much overestimating. I think we're talking maybe like 5 figures as far as Democrats abroad voting in a primary. I think maybe 5 figures.
Look, Google never lies to
maybe
me.
3,000 people voted last year in the Democrat 2016. It's just, dude, it's not. It's like something you'll notice you can't even click on in Ballotopedia. But like I said, looking at these states, you do notice that if Michael Bloomberg can win California, Texas, Minnesota, and Massachusetts, I would say he is suddenly in a very good spot to win the primary. These are massive states to win, right? Like big population centers, influential areas. I don't think it's going to happen.
Look, this is intriguing. I just went to democratsabroad.org and it says Democrats Abroad is the official Democratic Party arm for the millions of Americans living outside the United States. We strive to provide Americans abroad a democratic voice in our government, elect democratic candidates by mobilizing our overseas votes. Democrats Abroad has 55 country committees throughout Europe, the Americas, Middle East, Africa, and Asia. And these country committees keep Americans abroad informed of their rights and help them participate in U.S. political election processes. And our members live in more than 190
34,000
countries.
people voted in 2016.
How many?
34,000.
From Democrats abroad?
Yeah, 34,000.
Okay, still, that's huge.
Not really. That's
bigger than the amount that are going to Rhode Island.
It's like a large county somewhere. It's a large county in Texas.
You're right. That's not even L.A. County.
Yeah. Not even close. It's like that's a medium-sized Democrat voting county.
Where'd you get that data that's only 34,000? That seems low to me.
No, I think you have, for whatever reason, you have this opinion that there's like hundreds of thousands of Democrats abroad that not only they don't live in America anymore, but they are definitely filing.
I
to
would
vote
have guessed
in the primary.
if I had to
No,
guess.
dude.
Well, I would guess if you work for the State Department or the military that you're more politically involved than the average U.S. citizen.
Do they all
is.
count into that?
Well, it seems like maybe it's just Democrat. If I would have thrown a number at this, I would have guessed 150,000 to 200,000.
Oh my God, you are hilarious, dude. That is adorable. You think that? How many Americans?
Adorable.
1 in 2 Americans living in this country vote.
Says the little guy.
I think when you get to like primaries, probably like 1 in 4 Americans vote in a primary. You realize that, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
I'm not saying it's like, I'm just saying if I was living in Italy for like 4 or 5 years, I probably would just be so fine living in Italy. I wouldn't bother to register to vote in a primary. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that you don't care about America
that's
anymore. It's just like
true.
it's kind of like a pain. It's kind of like a pain to like. I would imagine your average American citizen who has to do basically nothing to vote, who doesn't. When we get to people who have moved out of the country for whatever reason, aren't living in the country anymore.
If the babes are hot and the water's warm, why worry about the primaries? I'll send in that ballot for the presidential.
My point is, I just think it's hilarious that you have this idea in your head that there's just like hundreds of thousands of people.
I overestimated it, man. You're right. I overestimated it.
I've been living in Japan for 5 years, but I've been very involved in American politics. I've been voting in primaries. I know they exist. I literally talked to them on Twitter.
Either
they
way.
Exist. I just thought it was funny how
Either way,
the idea
Super
that,
Tuesday.
This block was going to like dominate.
Okay, whether or not those Democrats abroad are 34,000 like you say, or whether they're 340,000.
It's not like I say, it's as I've found.
Okay, as you found.
As reported.
As reported. It's still a huge endeavor for Michael Bloomberg to attack as a whole front Super Tuesday instead of 3 states.
Well, but
that's hardcore, man.
I think when he says he's attacking Super Tuesday, though, I think what he actually means is he's attacking California, Texas, Minnesota, Massachusetts. These are good states to win for Democrats. I think he wants to win them.
All right.
Because
you got more to say on this? Or are we going to move on?
I actually do. Another way to basically, I knew that Michael Bloomberg wasn't actually serious about running for president when I saw his picture.
Oh my gosh. And so it begins his order, a decaf coffee.
How do you run for president, order decaf coffee your first move? My first thing as a presidential candidate.
Plus, my only question is, what tip is that waitress getting? You know that server is thinking this is either going to be an epic 15% by the book tip so nobody criticizes him, or else it's going to be a drop of like $1,000.
Nah.
So that it becomes a PR stunt. She is hoping for the $1,000.
I'm pretty sure you're probably getting a $100 bill for the tip in the bill, no matter what. You know what I mean? It's the kind of thing where it's just like, here's a large bill, keep it. I don't.
By the way,
care
if anything doesn't show off more how much of a sham some of these appearances by politicians are, then this picture, I don't know what does.
Well,
because
look at this picture.
Yeah, I mean, like really, how much is he enjoying that morning cup of coffee? And how much of a sit down is that really when you've got that entourage?
I will say something else though. You want to talk about? We were talking about. You think? I don't know, man. I know. There's a lot of people running for president who weren't getting this kind of media coverage when they showed up to have a cup of coffee. Remember though, famously, like I think 20,000 people came out when Kamala announced in San Francisco.
Okay.
People forget how hard Kamala fell, and there was like people were in the streets. It was crazy. I'm like, wow. And then
the
she's
fall of the House of Vanderbilt, man.
But I'm still like, this is really big for Michael Bloomberg. But like I said, you order a cup of decaf coffee, get out of here, man. I'm never gonna vote for you. I guess you know what the problem was though. You know what the problem was? He couldn't order a soda, right? So he had to order.
I was gonna say, is that more than 16 ounces of coffee there? Because don't you have rules about that, Bloomberg?
You probably can't be. You know what? That's probably why he ordered decaf, man. Because he looked like a hypocrite. Because I think caffeine and soda is one of the things he didn't like either. So he probably legitimately doesn't drink black coffee, and he probably legitimately doesn't drink decaf coffee that much. But he sat down in the diner for a photo op, and they say, "What did you drink order?" And he goes, decaf coffee. Maybe he's the most comfortable dude ever in a New York diner, and he loves his decaf coffee.